I think we'll go ahead and get started just to be mindful and respectful of everybody's time. Good morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m. Time to get started. We will be recording this, as the moderator just mentioned. We are conducting this meeting virtually. We have two more committee meetings this year. One will be in person and one will be virtual. The next one, I believe, is virtual, and then the final one of the year in November, I believe we are going to do that in person, although things might change, so don't take that as written in stone just yet. Okay, so the first order of business is to call this meeting to order. This meeting is called to order. We will be meeting from 10 a.m. until completion of all agenda items. The first agenda item is our roll call. Our policy manager, Carrie Ortman, will be calling our roll this morning.
Actually, Valerie is calling roll this morning.
Valerie is calling roll this morning. Okay, Valerie Peterson, you're up. Can you call roll, please?
Anton Farmby.
Present.
Frank Huntington.
Present.
Mark Miller. Darren Morgan.
Present.
Chris Sayers.
Present.
Leon Scroggin.
Present.
And Glenn Younger.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for showing up. I really appreciate it. I know the
excuse me, Mark Miller just joined.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Did you want to do a mic check, Mr. Miller? I sent you a request to unmute Mark Miller.
Good morning.
Wonderful.
Good morning. All right. Okay, so we're just lacking Glenn. If he pops in, Anne, do you mind letting us know so that we can stop our business at that point and do the roll call for, or do the votes for our previous meetings?
Certainly.
Thank you. Okay, next up is the review and approval of our meeting minutes, which, as I just explained, because we do not have a quorum, we need one more member. For a quorum, we will not be doing the review and approval of the meeting minutes just yet. Fingers crossed that Glenn will show up and then we have a quorum and we can get rid of that agenda item. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the meeting minutes right now? No? Okay, so then when or if Glenn appears, we can just go straight into the vote at that point. Okay.
Did you want to open for public comment on that item or wait until you've got a motion?
Let's wait until I have a motion.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our next agenda item, which is agenda item number 3. It's Department of Consumer Affairs update. We are lucky to have one of their top ledge persons here. That would be Matthew Wainwright. Matt, do you want to go ahead and give the update, please?
And Matthew, I do see you're unmuted, but I'm not hearing your voice.
Do you mind muting, please?
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Everyone hear me?
Oh, I was something very quiet. Is that you,
Yeah,
Matt?
really, really softly, Matt.
Really soft. Okay.
Oh,
Better.
I know you're much better now.
That's better? Great.
Yes.
Okay. Glad we did a mic check. Well, good morning, everyone. Hello and good morning. My name is Matthew Wainwright. And I am, it's an opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today. I'm here to present the update on behalf of the California Department of Consumer Affairs. For those of you that don't know me, I'm pinch hitting for Board and Bureau Relations. I'm a legislative manager over at the Division of Legislative Affairs here at the department. And I'll get right into the update. On April 30th, DCA will host an in-person meet and greet with Secretary Tamiqua Moss and executive leaders. The meet and greet will serve as an opportunity to meet the new secretary and hear her vision for agency and the department. Invites have been sent to executive offices and bureau chiefs, board members, and advisory committee members with any questions for Secretary Moss are encouraged to submit them to their executive officer or bureau chief. Last month, 11 DCA boards and bureaus, including this bureau, participated in sunset review hearings at the state capitol. Congratulations to bureau leadership and staff. The hearings went very well, and DCA is incredibly proud of everyone's hard work and dedication to the process, and most importantly, to protecting California's consumers. Now, moving on to an important update regarding Title IV funding. A new U.S. Department of Education regulation that goes into effect on July 1st, 2024 will impact students of boards and bureaus that approve non-degree schools leading to licensure. Currently, schools can offer programs that exceed a state's minimum hour requirements, and they can still offer their students federal financial aid. Starting July 1st, 2024, this will change. The U.S. Department of Education regulation limits the program length to 100% of the state's minimum requirements, making the minimum requirement the maximum. As a result, non-compliant programs will not be eligible for federal Title IV funding after July 1st, 2024. The program length must be equal to the state's minimum hour requirements. There can no longer be any deviations, or the entire program will lose federal financial aid. However, as of April 9th, the U.S. Department of Education issued a notice that allows for the delay of enforcement and implementation of the 100% requirements for Title IV to January 25th, 2025. DCA will continue to work with the U.S. Department of Education, California's legislature, and your executive officer or bureau chief on this important issue. On to our next subject, DCA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, also referred to by its acronym DEI, Steering Committee, will hold its next meeting on April 5th, which was a few weeks ago. The committee will discuss DEI actions, priorities, and language access. As a reminder, DCA's learning management system has many DEI-related training courses available to board and bureau members. If you need any assistance accessing these courses, please reach out to Board and Bureau Relations. This month, DCA's Office of Public Affairs staff will participate in 2 Facebook Live events hosted by the Consulate of Mexico during its Financial Education Week. Staff will present Get to Know DCA in Spanish and share a board overview of consumer and licensing resources. The first event is with the Consulate of Mexico in Sacramento, and the second event, the department will join the Consulate of Mexico in Fresno. Additionally, in the coming months, DCA will be developing workforce development outreach opportunities for all boards and bureaus to participate in. I look forward to sharing more information soon. Last month, DCA's Division of Investigations, DOI, updated the complaint prioritization and referral guidelines for healing arts boards. The new guidelines are in effect and should be used to evaluate complaint referrals. Referral guidelines for non-healing arts boards and bureaus are in progress. Looking ahead, at as this year's annual Form 700 period comes to a close, DCA and Board and Bureau Relations would like to thank all of our board members and executive officers who helped us achieve compliance. And in closing, again, thank you for the opportunity to join you today. I'm happy to answer any questions from the advisory committee at this time.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate you taking the time to come here and let us know the latest news. So I will open up this agenda item for questions and comments from the committee members. Anybody have any questions for Matt? Okay, I am not seeing any hands up, so I'll open it up.
Hello. Can anyone hear me?
Oh, hey, Anton, I'm sorry.
Hey, no problem, Chief. No problem. Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
Morning, Anton. I'm good. How are you?
Guys, fucking
Good. Had a question on the diversity and inclusion piece. Is that something that's more of a closed group, or is this something that's open to advisory members to listen in on or participate in?
You know, that is a good question. I don't know the answer offhand, but I can check with Board and Bureau Relations, and they can get back to your bureau chief on that.
Okay, I really appreciate that. Whenever you have a chance, no rush. And then my second question regarding I believe you said it was April 30th, with Secretary Ma. I know that was for the executives and we can present questions. Is that going to be more of a formal type of a meeting, or is it more of like a meet and greet, open conversational type of meeting?
I don't have any more details on that beyond what I was provided for this update. I don't know, maybe Lynn, do you have any information on that?
No, I don't. It was my understanding that it was for DCA staff only, but that's something I can check on and get back to you.
Okay, no big deal. I just wanted to see. I know that you had mentioned that we can provide some questions. I mean, we're doing some great work here. I believe with this advisory committee, and just maybe wanted to check in with Chief or a couple of other members regarding like some of the things that we discussed, and maybe be able to get some some feedback from the secretary if that was possible. So that was the only reason why I was inquiring. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll check on that and I'll let you know, Anton. Might take a day or two, but I'll get back to you.
No worries, no rush. Thank you so much, Chief.
All right, any other committee members have any questions, comments? No? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up this particular agenda item for public comment or questions at this time.
Perfect, thank you. This is the moderator. And if you would like to make a comment on the DCA report, you may look for the question mark icon that's typically in the lower right of your computer screen. Or if you're on a mobile device, it'll be behind the three dot other options. You can click that question mark icon, type the word comment in the text box, and then click send. And the other option is to raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. Again, that might be behind the three dot other options if you're on a mobile device. And our call-in users can always press *3 to raise their hand. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes with a 30-second warning. So are there any requests for public comment on the DCA report?
Okay,
Do not see any. Shall I close public comment?
yes, please.
Thank you.
All right, okay, moving on to agenda item number 4, which is the Bureau Chief's introduction, welcome remarks, and Bureau update. Again, as always, a very warm welcome to all of our committee members. I really appreciate your time commitment. I understand it's just 3 times a year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but then when the meetings start to loom in front of us, suddenly it seems like a serious commitment. So I thank everybody for showing up today. We also have several openings on the advisory committee. We've had another public member fall off, unfortunately. So we have 2 public member openings. We have an opening for alarm industry, and we have an opening for training facility industry member. If you know of anybody who might be interested in serving on this committee, please let me know. Let anybody at BSIS know, or you can go straight to the DCA homepage. Advisory committee members are appointed by the DCA director. And if you do a search at dca.ca.gov for advisory committee for BSIS, you can find the application there, and it will go straight to the director. So we encourage everybody to reach out and to serve on this committee if you fit one of those slots. Public member means you cannot hold a license with the Bureau. Okay, updates. So we have a lot of updates today. We are partially through the sunset review process in the legislature. Deputy Chief Studolsky and I testified on March 11th in front of the Senate Business and Professions Committee. As Matt said earlier, it was us and I think 4 other boards and bureaus that day for our sunset review. It went well. The bill is now in the Senate Judiciary Committee, where it was referred to because there are some corporate provisions in there that make it subject to judiciary oversight. It is scheduled to be heard in the Judiciary Committee next week on the 23rd. We expect it to get out of there smoothly. We've already spoken to committee staff there, indicated that we do not have any issues with any of the provisions in the bill as of yet. And it will be reported out of Judiciary to the Appropriations Committee. After that, it goes to the Senate floor for a full vote. And then the whole process gets repeated in the assembly. So the assistant chief, and I will be testifying again in front of the Assembly Business and Professions Committee when they get jurisdiction of this bill. I don't anticipate that happening until sometime in June at the earliest. We do also expect the governor to sign this bill. And if you want to track what is happening with the bill, it is Senate Bill 1454. Senate bills are unique in that it is an opportunity for boards and bureaus to put sort of their wish list into legislation. It is the only chance that we get. As a bureau, we do not sponsor legislation. So we have several provisions in there that we are currently working on committee staff with. The provisions are extensive, they are exciting, and we're super thrilled about them. So I'm going to kick it over to Assistant Chief Stadolsky to go over it. Some of these provisions are not in the bill yet, but we do anticipate them showing up in print sometime in the next month. So to give everybody a heads up, we want to go over the provisions for the sake of transparency. So Sam, are all of your devices working?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, then I guess we're working. So just a quick kind of overview of some of the issues that were identified in the Sunset Report and some of the proposals that we had put forward. As Lynn said, we don't know for sure what all is going to make it in there, but like she said, the wish list of what we submitted. One of the issues identified by the committee had to do with proprietary and some of the exemptions that exist. If you look at that front page in the Proprietary Security Services Act, there's like 17 exemptions listed. So a lot of that had to do with drafting. When they drafted the Proprietary Act, they modeled it after private security, which had previously been modeled after the PI Act when they were combined. So a lot of those exemptions don't really make sense. So there's definitely, we had identified some of those exemptions that really could be removed because they don't quite fit in there. So I anticipate the committee will, take a look at those and see if they should come out or if they need to stay in there. If you look at the existing bill, it looks like they're going to extend the sunset dates for LLCs, for PIs and alarm companies. We had put in the Sunset Report that we were okay with the sunset provisions being removed. We haven't seen a lot of issues with LLCs particularly. It sounds like Senate Judiciary maybe is not quite ready just to remove that completely. So we will be looking at extending out the sunset provisions for a while. We've added language in there to push for online submission of applications. This was actually something the alarm industry did a few years back, and it's been pretty successful with everybody applying online. It's definitely cutting down on processing times. The need to go through DCA cashiering. So that's something we've definitely included as a possibility. We added, one of the things the committee identified was there was an exemption that exists in general provisions. In order for us to issue an administrative citation for unlicensed activity, we rely on Business and Professions Code Section 125.9. That essentially sets up for boards and bureaus their process for issuing those citations. And for years, somehow, the repossession industry has been exempt from that process. So that has made it nearly impossible for us to issue unlicensed activity citations for unlicensed repossessors. The committee identified that, so it looks like there will possibly be an attempt to remove that exemption. We're also looking at adding authority to issue infraction citations for private security. Business and Professions Code Section 146 lists out various professions within the department where infraction citations can be issued, and that's done via delegated authority from the director. So our proposal is to add private security and proprietary security into that section. So our special investigators, when they're in the field, it gives us a little more teeth to go after unlicensed activity. Another area we identified is especially for private security, because of the potential that exists for unlicensed private patrol operators and the fact that, just unlicensed activity in and of itself poses a risk to public safety. You start adding, weapons and training and firearms on top of that, and now you get a situation where it's even more so a risk. So one of the things we looked at was increasing the unlicensed activity fine. Right now it's capped at $5,000, and we added language in there to see, if this is something the committee would be interested in, but actually being able to increase that fine amount up to $20,000 if egregious circumstances exist, such as, they're not only an unlicensed company, but they have no insurance, no training, they have unlicensed armed guards on post. I mean, when you start, compounding all those other scenarios, we're looking at, the possibility of increasing that fine amount. We have some technical cleanup that we had added in there, just cleaning up various sections. We did identify for private investigators, one of the areas of concern that we had to do with contract agreements and fee schedules and records retention. So we had put together some thoughts on just how it could be beneficial both for consumers and PIs to be able to have agreements done in writing that clearly state what the expectations are, because it's really hard to mediate and investigate consumer complaints when a consumer complains that, the PI didn't render services or the PI took advantage of them, whatever the allegations. It's not a matter of a consumer saying, well, the PI didn't get me the result I wanted. We're not interested in that. What we're interested in is what were the terms that were agreed upon, what was the PI supposed to do, what were they paying for, and how accountable is the PI to be able to say, I did the job to its fullest. So we just wanted to put together a quick outline of what needs to be in there, having those agreements in writing, having an explanation of how the fees are used. Some PIs are using flat fee agreements that provide no accountability. And the challenge that we have with that is we've had cases go to hearing where, you have a sympathetic complainant who says, this is what the PI promised me for this much money and I got nothing. Obviously that, plays a little more sympathetic, for the consumer. So we wanted to at least put something together in that area. Also records retention, just being required to hold on to records for a certain period of time. We think that protects both consumers and the PIs, because people will submit a complaint and say, well, this PI took advantage of me. Well, when did you enter into your agreement for services? Well, that was 6 years ago. Maybe not a lot's going to be done in that time, but having a set parameter in place for PIs to maintain the records makes it a lot easier for us to work with both consumers and the licensee, but it also sets an expectation and a limitation as far as what can be done there. Also, less than lethal weapons. One of the things that we had proposed is at least some certification for some of the less than lethal options that are out there. First step is tasers, obviously. Private security guards, a lot of them are carrying tasers. One of the issues that comes with that is there are no training standards, there's no licensure requirements. What we had put forward in our proposal is essentially provisions that would model it similar to the chemical agents training, where if a guard's going to carry a taser, they need to have training completed, they need to have a training certificate, it needs to be on file with the PPO. We figured that was the easiest way to get some standards in there. It would be modeled after chemical agents, so it's not, it won't be too cumbersome for companies to be able to implement. And I think that's about it. Lynn, did I miss anything? Lynn, are you muted?
Lynn, you're on mute.
Lynn, I think you're muted.
Sorry, yep. Okay, I said it was really awesome what I just said, but sadly, As Sam said, and as I said, this is just sort of our initial. Hey, Mark, do you mind going on mute again, please, just for a minute? And then it's reverberating somehow.
You have muted the members who aren't actively speaking.
Okay, thank you. So this is just the beginning of the process. That's our wish list of what we submitted over to the legislature. So we shall see what they agree with, what they want to include, and what the end result is. So if anybody has any issues with this, what I would recommend is that you reach out to the legislature because they will need to know your opinion on this, favorable, unfavorable, one way or the other. So you weigh in with them through the legislative process. And I think that should do it for that. But we're not going to open this up for questions just yet. We're gonna finish up this agenda item first and then kick it open for questions from the members and then the public. So moving on to the next portion of the update. I'm happy to announce that the regulations for Assembly Bill 229, which passed several years ago, and as advisory committee members are well aware, this has taken the majority of the assistant chiefs and I time over the last 3 years. Finally got the regulations approved in early December by the Office of Administrative Law. They are live. So they've been live for over 5 months. We do start whenever we have a major change of this nature. We do start off with educating our licensees first before we start citing and fining them. We are in the education portion of the implementation, but we will shortly be moving into the enforcement portion of it. We have directed our enforcement analysts and our special investigators to go out and at this point to educate folks. But we do feel that since we're coming up on the 6th month of implementation, that it is time to switch over into enforcement. So that is a big, huge thing off Sam and I's desk. So we're very relieved about that. We also wanted to let everybody know there's a lot of headlines on telework. The governor's office issued a declaration that all state workers come back to the office a minimum of 2 days a week. This does not change the Bureau's operation. We have, since the beginning of the pandemic, had most of our staff, and now we have all of our staff in for a minimum of 3 days a week. That is because this is still a very paper-heavy Bureau. That might change after the sunset bill, but currently we do not anticipate any telework changes. And we do continue to plan for 3 days a week, and we will make that clear to if anything changes on that, we will make the announcement. But I do not expect any changes. We do anticipate that the hybrid schedule will be in effect for at least the time being. As always, I strongly encourage everyone to apply and renew online. As Sam said, and as I said, that this is just by far the quickest way to do it. Moving everything online really will work wonders for our processing time. And right now, if everything lines up, it is possible, especially for guards, if it is an uncomplicated, complete application, to merge with your approved fingerprints from DOJ and get approved within a couple of days. So always apply and renew online. I also encourage everybody to email the Bureau. On the Bureau's website, if you click on Contact Us, there are drop-down menus for all different types of our licensees. So find the email address for your license that you're having a question about. Email rather than call the 1-800 number on our website. The 1-800 number on our website and the 916 number on our website, they are answered by DCA general employees, the call center employees. So we are one of several boards and bureaus that they answer questions on. However, if you email us, it goes directly to the subject matter expert and the employees in that unit. So you are dealing with the BSIS staff directly. So that is always the best way to do things. And I also want to point out that DOJ is still taking more time than usual to approve fingerprints. So please be patient. We are almost backed up against DOJ's processing times. They do slip down from time to time, up to 6 weeks. And so a lot of times the delay is not with the Bureau, it's with the fingerprint clearance. And finally, we have approximately 80 positions now. We have, I think 77.9 is the official number. We have grown substantially because every huge bill that gets passed that impacts the Bureau, and we have had many over the last 7 years, usually comes with a couple of positions to help implement that legislation. So we have grown by leaps and bounds. We're up to 77.9, and our vacancy rate is at a pretty decent low. I want to say we're between 5% vacancy and 8% vacancy at this time, which is a huge decrease from a couple of years ago when I think we had close to 30% vacancies. So, so that's good. We see a lot of good things on the horizon here. And that is that for my updates. So I would like to now open it up for committee members' comments or questions.
I have one for Sam, if I may.
Sure. Hey, Leon.
Hi, it's Chief. Sam, you'd mentioned the statute number for the unlicensed activity for repossessor. What was that statute number again, please?
125.9.
Okay, yeah, Lynn had mentioned that to me once before, and I never wrote it down and couldn't find it again. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because it's not in the Repossessors Act. It's in the DCA general, provisions. So it is a little tricky to find. Any other members? Yes, Mark.
Sorry, hi, this is Anton Farnby. Great news, Chief, on the staffing. That's wonderful. We've seen gloomier days, so that's really good to hear. And then on Sam's updates, really appreciate the information. One of the things that I think that would be helpful, Sam or Chief, later on as an agenda item is maybe doing like some sort of review of equipment, or that for specifically for private security officers in terms of what folks are carrying. I mean, we're in a different time in the security world. I can speak to that directly as someone who's been representing those workers. And it would be good to maybe think about or be able to anticipate any trends or something that's in play around basic standards or testing or requirements, just to ensure that we're in a position to be thinking about anything that would be of the interest and protection of the employees and the public.
Sorry, Anton, just trying to get some clarity here. So you just want to know what guards are licensed to carry?
Yeah, well, Sam had mentioned about tasers, right? And
Right.
so,
Yeah,
like,
we don't
just being
license
able to have,
tasers or other less than lethal. Things like pepper ball guns are also popular, but because most pepper ball gun manufacturers do manufacture their product to look like a gun, they are not allowed to be carried by California guards because our statutes specifically prohibit replica or simulated firearms. So if these pepper ball guns looked like, if they looked like a paintball gun, that would be a different story, but they look like real firearms, and that can be misleading and dangerous for both the guard and consumers. So right now, those are banned, and really guards are only allowed to carry, we license for batons, we license for firearms. They are required to get an outside certification for pepper spray and pepper spray type products. And I think that's it right now, Sam, right? I mean, they do carry other things, but that's all they're really supposed to carry.
Well, they can carry tasers because tasers have not been.
Right, the law is silent on tasers right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other issue too, like Lynn said with the pepper ball guns, is the use of kinetic energy weapons in general.
right turn to merge onto I-4.
One of the issues with kinetic energy weapons is you have to look at various provisions of the penal code and what people are allowed to carry. So kinetic energy weapons is still, we need to go back and do another analysis between pepper ball guns and kinetic energy weapons. So those are, all things that I think will be discussed at some point. But right now, tasers being one that is frequent that people use. that was what we had included, at least this round with Sunset.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. I was only raising it simply because I know at least in my organization in the union, we're kind of looking at the moment that we're in when you think about security. And we, and I'm more than happy to kind of share with you what we've talked about. But we have been dealing with, things of that is what I would consider like an imposing threat in terms of safety on folks who performs security work in a private sector. And so I think just as a committee, understanding what the law requires. I think what the law requires is one thing, and like the emerging trends that are happening, I think possibly could be something else. Not really getting into the legislative part of it, but at least kind of being aware of what's happening out there in terms of what's impacting security officers. And I was specifically just wanted to note we've been noticing the same for tasers as well. So that was the only reason why I was raising it, not really from a legislative perspective, but in terms of kind of looking at the times that we're currently in.
Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. We do tend to stay on top of that as well, because when our inspectors go out, they find all manners of equipment on our guards. So they bring that to our attention. So yeah, that is something that we do tend to track. Okay, Mark.
Hi, do you guys hear me? You hear me, Lynn?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. That's interesting. Anton, does the union have a position on, taser and tools of this nature? Maybe Anton's not there.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Hi, Anton.
Hey, Mark. Yeah. No, I don't. For us, it's not so much. We haven't really had the conversation internally around having a position on one form of equipment or anything or another. I think for us, it's really just around making sure that the folks who are conducting the work and any equipment that is either required or expected of them, that they're at least trained and know how to use that equipment, right? I mean, I don't, for us, it's not about one particular tool or equipment over another. But we did conduct a survey with our members, and it was like 20% of folks had responded from this particular group, and it was surprising information around how people felt about using any given equipment if the time called for it, right? And so I was only raising it from that perspective in terms of this committee, and just making sure that the folks who are kind of in positions to do that work, that they're at least aware how to use it and train or understand the expectations to do so.
Yeah, agree 100%, Anton. Lynn, I'm curious. I mean, I am so in support of online, and I know you've already said it, but on this round, what licensure is going to be? Did you recommend everything or guards or what?
We're going for everything, Mark.
Yeah.
Because apparently I love punishment. So we are going to require all license types to be online only.
I love it. Okay. On the DOJ, I personally, you know that I'm very in tune with guard processing applications, and I see them being processed very quickly by BSIS. I don't see any real slowdowns, but it does, it's hard because the DOJ slow processing. It'd be nice if that's a discussion we could have with them. And I don't know quite how to do that, but certainly if anybody had any ideas how we could we used to work together, we used to come to the table together, BSIS and live scan unit, and talk about statistics and processing and stuff like that. So Anton and everybody, I'm open to anything that we can do to, maybe try to include DOJ live scan unit in the conversation. Am I making sense?
No, you are. It is difficult to get through to DOJ, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I personally have had difficulties, tremendous difficulties as well. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. And then you might be going into this later, Lynn, on the 80 positions, as Anton said, congratulations. That's good for us. And is that going to necessitate some fee changes, or is that, forgive me if it's on your agenda later?
It is on the agenda, Mark. You're
Yeah.
skipping ahead several items, but the short answer is yes, we are. And this is not a secret. I think I've had this on
Yeah.
the agenda of the last couple of years. This is something, budgets keeps reminding us that we are in the red. Budget year +3, I believe, is where we're at now for being in the red. So we're not in dire straits this year or next year, but we do need to raise the prices or the fees for all of our license types. They'll be raised approximately 10% across the board. And that will mean, I think it's something like a $4 increase on average for a lot of these company apps, and firearms going to be slightly higher because they are more expensive fees, but everything else is in the $4 to $5 range.
Yeah. Inflation, right?
Yeah, inflation.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thanks, you guys.
All right. Okay. So thank you for that. All right, moving on. I am going to open it up for public comments or questions on that particular agenda item.
And this is the moderator. We've opened up the public comment feature of WebEx to facilitate public comment. If you would like to make a comment, you may look for the question mark icon and type like that, type the word comment and click send. At that point, when your turn comes up, we will unmute you and you may ask your question or make your comment. The other option is to raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. And let's see, we do have a request for comment from Antonio S. Antonio, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your microphone so you can make your comment. And each person will have 3 minutes with a 30-second warning. And Antonio, I did send you a request to unmute your microphone so you can ask your question. All right, so as a point of reference, Chief Jensen, would you like for me to read aloud the question that Antonio put into the chat?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. So Antonio S. asks, in regards to pepper guns, if the pepper gun is of a distinct color, such as orange, would that be allowed?
Quick answer is no. I've seen pink guns, I've seen orange guns, I've seen red guns, I've seen blue guns. So the color does not matter. It is what it looks like.
Thank you.
Keep in mind, the Practice Act specifically prohibits guards from carrying a replica or simulated firearm. Okay. I've gotten questions of what does replica mean or what does simulated mean. Use a dictionary. Honestly, it's as plain language as can be. If it looks like a gun and you're carrying it, you have the problem where you have a situation where it's a replica or simulated firearm. You also have a problem where if you're drawing a pepper ball gun, if somebody can't tell it's a pepper ball gun, they might pull their gun and shoot you. It's a dangerous scenario when you look at the totality of how these devices are being manufactured. And for private security, not only is it a safety risk for them carrying it, but also you run the risk of having a violation.
And then I do see, moderator, I did see Leon Scroggins' hand up earlier. I may have skipped over him when I was asking member questions, so I apologize if we could go back to him after we've answered this question.
All right, I believe we might be done with this pepper guns question if you'd like to swing back to Member Scroggins.
Okay, Leon, did you have a question?
No, I just put my hand down. I'd asked it earlier of Sam
Okay.
and he answered. Thank you, though.
Okay, okay, fabulous. All right. Any other questions from the public at this time on that particular agenda item?
Yes, we have a hand raised from Edwin Torres. Edwin, I'm sending you a request to unmute your microphone. You'll have 3 minutes with a 30-second warning. Go ahead.
Whereas current licensee and also current ASIS member, I had a question about the last thing that Mr. Sadolski mentioned, the proposals. Where can the public view this list of changes being sent to the legislature?
So at this point, the list is not public. It is being sent to legislature. Keep your eye on SB 1454. There are legislative alerts you can set up on the public website to be notified of any changes to that bill. You kind of got to poke around a little bit, but you're going to have to wait until it's in print. Before it's in print, it is still being negotiated, and we are not releasing it to the public at that point. After it is negotiated, it will be included in the bill, and that is when the public will have access to it.
Okay, thank you.
And our next raised hand is from someone logged in to WebEx as Jerry Desmond. Jerry, I'm going to send you a request to unmute, and you'll have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Association of Licensed Investigators. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you. Just a couple of thoughts, I guess, reactions to the discussion regarding the licensed private investigators and potential requirements that there be a written agreement and that records be retained for a period of time. And I do recall that in the past, it's been a year or two when this issue has been discussed at the advisory committee meeting and amongst our members, there was a bit of feedback where the members have been questioning what is the extent of the problem that is being addressed. And when we see the explanation of this discussion in the SB 1454 committee analysis, it says that the Bureau reports that 27% of consumer complaints about PIs allege that a PI failed to render services or report as agreed upon. And we're wondering, and I don't know if the stats are there, I was looking at reports, how many private investigator, how many complaints are received so we can determine what that 27% is. And then of the 27% of the complaints, how many of those complaints are actually valid or address this issue? So in effect, how many consumer problems have arisen or arise annually where a licensed PI either didn't render their services or there's not the information for for the Bureau to complete its investigation. And then secondarily, we know especially their sensitivity in the private investigator world in terms of the confidentiality of the information that they work on. And even in the Business and Professions Code, there's a requirement of confidentiality that we really keep in high regard for our practice. So just some informal feedback that I think there's a great sensitivity to these requirements. Thank you.
So we can talk more offline about this, Jerry, but actual specific numbers, I'll let Sam add to this, but it's a big enough problem that we're addressing it. It comes up often enough that this has been recognized for a long time as a problem by the Bureau. When we do receive complaints about PIs, quite often we have a bit of difficulty trying to, get the records that would help us with a more complete picture of what's going on. So I don't know, Sam, do you have anything else that you want to add there?
This is an issue we've had discussions with industry in the past about, and my hope was that PI industry would kind of carry the water on this and figuring out, okay, what's the best way to work something out that works for both sides. Obviously, we have to identify issues in sunset, and this is an issue when you have, and I can't give you details right now because things that are still pending, but But keep in mind, it's not, with PIs, it's not always open and shut and simple like, you know, a guard standing post without a proper license. You know, when you have a PI complaint, there's a lot that's in there. I understand the confidentiality that you guys are discussing, and we're not trying to create a situation to encroach on that. We're trying to set it up in a way that there's an agreement between the PI and the consumer. That agreement is in writing, so that there's expectations in there, and it protects the PIs as well, because you get that situation where they said, well, they didn't render service, and the PI said, absolutely, I rendered the service. That was agreed upon. You know, when we see these flat fee agreements where it literally is out in limbo land, it gets very, very hard to determine whether or not there was consumer harm. And there are PIs in the state that are taking advantage of people. So this was something that we had put forward, and I think if the language makes it into the bill at that point, obviously Jerry and Frank, I imagine we would have discussions and you know, see what works for both consumer protection as well as PIs, and also handling their concerns with some of this.
Thank you. Just a quick thought. You know, that number is there. There's already a number the Bureau's submitted. It's 27% of consumer complaints on PIs. So there's already a statement. And last time, I think we talked in a public forum about this, the number we had was like 5 or 6 complaints that involve these issues. So to us, there's already a number being floated by the Bureau to the legislature, 27% of some number. We don't think that would be something that should be hidden till the bill provision arises, but that's just a comment. We can all certainly discuss offline as well, and appreciate the chance to do so today. Thanks.
Okay.
And did you want to continue?
Yeah,
Chief
next.
Yes. Next public comment is from Alex Haddix. Alex, I'm going to send you a request to unmute your mic, and you'll have 3 minutes. And Alex, you should see a pop-up on your mobile. There you go. You're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Yeah, this is Alex Haddix. I'm with Security Training Center. I have a comment and a question. So the first comment is that the pepper spray gun is really a non-issue. According to the California Penal Code, anything that follows or shoots a projectile chemical agent is illegal. So it's right there. So it has to be the chemical agent has to be an aerosol spray, and the canister can't hold more than 2.5 ounces. So the guns themselves are illegal. So it shouldn't even be an issue for the BSIS. The second question I have is regarding Senate Bill 229 and regarding the online training. We have never been told when the power to arrest and weapons of mass destruction certificates and paperwork will not be accepted anymore by the BSIS. And there's been no public posting of when the online programs must be taken offline. So can you provide some clarity there, please?
Sure. Well, we don't necessarily send out messages to people who run their own businesses based off of our requirements, but we have posted multiple notices on our website about these regulations. There has been a lot of chatter in these advisory committee meetings about these regulations. It's 50% in person, 50% online, and that was effective as of the date that regulations went into effect, which was December 1st or 4th, I can't remember. So as I mentioned earlier, we are not enforcing just yet, but as of the effective date of the regulations, all online only training must cease.
And can I just clarify on that one? It's not that we're not enforcing, we're taking some time to do education with a lot of licensees. We're working with a lot of online trainers for them to be able to revamp their training so that it actually will align with existing laws. So just keep that in mind. We're working on that educational phase. You should be transitioned over by now. Okay, we're almost into May. These regs went into effect December 1st.
Okay, but from what my research online is, like, no one has. So we're still competing with online programs.
We're,
the
we're
physical
working on that through enforcement with outreach and education.
We
Okay.
are, yeah, so if they are, they run the risk of their certificates not being accepted by our enforcement analysts. And then you're gonna have a lot of angry ex-customers compounding on your doors saying, why did you train me when you knew that this was not going to be accepted by the Bureau? So that's something that the online trainers need to take a step back and realize, you know, maybe I should have started transitioning over to part online, part in person some months ago, which is the whole intent of the education process.
But at the same time, economically, that is a very difficult decision to make. If you take yours offline, then everyone else is still online and making money and taking your customers away from you. So if we get
again,
a
that's a chance you have to take. That is a calculation the Bureau is not going to advise you on.
But if there was a posted date, the deadline is X date, and then everyone has to comply to that.
We posted that multiple times, and the fact that online trainers are deliberately ignoring this. I do want to mention that we are handling numerous complaints now about online trainers, and we are aggressively educating them and then going back and making sure that they are complying. So if anybody was paying attention, they would have known that the date that the effective regulations went into effect, which was again early December, that this was coming. So
okay, I'm actually one of the people that filed the complaint and listed a bunch of sites.
Yeah.
So.
And then we also have, while we're on the subject, we've started to receive questions coming into the Bureau about, well, what if I can only do part of the training? You know, the online trainers want to carve out the online only portion and provide that. The danger with that, and we would strongly recommend against doing that, is you are now setting up a two-tier system for your poor guards that will have to go through. They're gonna get a certificate and they're gonna be told, well, hey, this is only a 50% certificate. You gotta go and go to an in-person course and get the rest of it. So that business model is, I would, again, strongly recommend against that.
Yeah, I agree completely. Also, may not necessarily accept your certificate for the first part. They may say, well, I don't know what you were trained on. I'm not going to buy it. No, I agree completely. Doing the mix is not viable. But again, I would like to reinforce that, publishing a hard date when the weapons of mass destruction certificates are not going to be accepted would go a long way to eliminating the people that are online and still courses.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And then I see a question in the chat from Luis Garcia. This bill is going to be talked about later on in the agenda. So we'll address your question about that. I believe I know what you're talking about, but we'll address it later in the agenda.
Thank you. And that is the end of the questions and comment requests. Shall I close public comment?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay, that finishes agenda item number 4. Agenda item number 5, which is the update on the Bureau's licensing unit, will be done by Assistant Chief Stadolski.
All right. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes.
So I get double duty today. I get to do licensing and enforcement. So quick update for licensing. Andrea Daly was appointed as the Deputy Chief over licensing a couple months ago. Some of you may know Andrea. She's been with the Bureau for several years. She's worked in enforcement, disciplinary review, licensing, She's been a manager in licensing for the last few years, so we're very fortunate that she stepped into this role. And if you look at your licensing update, one of the things that she wanted to do was streamline it a little bit, make it a little easier to read. She's going to look at how to revamp this the format for the licensing update. So if you guys have any suggestions, anything you'd like to see, shoot me an email so we could definitely take that into consideration for the next one. The main thing in licensing right now is the baton permits going live January. So with the law change that went into effect, we're now issuing baton permits instead of selling them to the training facilities, who then issue them to the guards. So the paper app went live on our website on January 9th. The online portal opened up in February. So far, so good. We haven't run into any major problems or anything that we can't work out. So there's a little information in the staff report on that process and how it goes. We're working with a lot of training facilities right now because, we put out several notices last year letting people know that we would stop selling permits November 1st and that we would continue to honor rosters for the training provided in the baton permits that were issued prior to December 30th, I think it was. We still have training instructors who are trying to issue them the incorrect way. So obviously we're not going to be honoring those. A lot of people have reached out, asked for refunds for permits that they purchased. We started the educational campaign, months ago, letting people know that. So we've got that one implemented, and now we're switching gears and we're going to start the process of getting ready to implement the new qualified manager requirements from AB 1244. So for TPOs, the QM will become its own separate license. For PIs, the QM will become a separate license if they have multiple companies that they're associated to. So we'll be working on implementation for that. The other thing, licensing is working with policy on updating FAQs, fact sheets, applications. There's new language that needs to go on applications. So you'll probably see a few updates throughout the year, all the various licensing applications. And I think that's about it. If anybody has any questions.
We'll open it up to the committee members first for questions on licensing and then public. Any committee members have questions on our licensing? This is usually where we talk about how many licenses we've issued. Sam streamlined it significantly, so. Okay, I don't see any questions from our committee members. All right, can we open it up to the public, please, for questions on licensing specifically?
Certainly, this is the moderator. We've opened up the WebEx Q&A and hand raise features to facilitate public comment. If anyone would like to make a comment on licensing report, you may look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment, and click send. This may be behind the three-dot other options if you're using a mobile device. The other option is to click the hand icon, which is typically in the lower portion of the WebEx screen. And if you click that, you'll raise your hand, and we attempt to take people in the order their hands were raised. Our call-in users may press *3 to raise their hand. Each speaker will have 3 minutes with a 30-second warning. And we do have a raised hand from Austin Tharp. Austin, I'm going to send you a request to unmute, and you'll have 3 minutes. And Austin, did you see a pop-up come through for unmute? All right, and instances where you have a technical issue, if you can find the question mark icon, you can click that and type, oh, there you go, you're unmuted. Go ahead, Austin. Oh, no. Let me send you another request, Austin.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, there you go.
Any legitimate form of government operates at the consent of the government. Despite this, BSIS pushes legislation without the input from the stakeholders. BSIS continues to enforce underground regulations whatsoever. This advisory committee needs to be converted into a formal civilian oversight committee that not only advises BSIS, but oversees the instructions of all facts of the Bureau. The simple fact is, and acts vicinity in its enforcement practices. The Bureau regularly overreaches its authority. The cause of this is clear, a lack of civilian oversight. There is absolutely no accountability in the public. I urge that the petition to your legislators and the governor to concern to a civilian oversight committee. This is without the license, the BSIS would never pursue an existence. It is time the power that the BSIS wields be put back into the hands of the qualified civilians and stakeholders and members. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. I'm not seeing any other hands up at this point.
We do have a question in the Q&A.
Oh,
I was gonna, let's see if TB, would you like to unmute and ask your question directly? I've sent you a request to unmute your microphone. And TB, did you see it? Oh, there you go. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Yep.
Perfect. So if I'm already a qualified PPO manager, would I be grandfathered into the new qualifications? I don't currently have my PPO, but I am in the process of my application. It's already been submitted for my PPO.
I'm sorry. So you have your PPO license or your QM license, or
I already so I several years ago I took my qualified manager.
Oh, I see. And now you're gonna open your
And now I just submitted about a month and a half ago my PPO application.
Okay, yeah. No, I'll kick this one over to Sam.
So yeah, historically it's been you take the examination, you pass it, you're issued a qualified manager designation that is good for life. The problem that brought up was it was not an individual license that we could take disciplinary action on. So bad QMs could bounce from PPO to PPO. So because of that, there's no grandfather provisions. Once this gets implemented, goes live, essentially you will be provided a renewal notice, at what point you go in and actually renew that qualified manager designation, and it becomes a separate license. And that is that's how it works for repossessors, alarm companies. They all have separate licenses for the QM as well. So it'll be similar to how those function.
So if I don't meet the minimum qualifications though, like you have to have, I think, believe it was 1 or 2 years as a administrator or manager of a security
You've
company.
already passed the exam, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
It's already, I passed it years ago.
Yeah, so you're good because you would be at those standards at the time that you took the examination.
Perfect. Thank you.
And we do have a raised hand from someone named Eddie. Eddie, I'm going to send you a request to unmute so that you may ask your question. And you're unmuted. Go ahead. Eddie, we can't hear you. Eddie, you may wish to look at the drop down next to the mute button and see if your device is connected, if you're using a headset or some other microphone. And Eddie, the other option would be to look for the question mark icon, click that and type your comment in there. And Eddie, you are unmuted, but we're not hearing your voice. And again, Eddie, I would encourage you to try going to the question mark and see if that is something that you can type into the text box under the question mark. All right, I am not seeing any input from Eddie. Oh. All right, well, Eddie, I'm not sure how to help you. You can always email the board or the Bureau at the email address that's on the bottom of all the slides. My apologies for the technological issues.
Yeah, just as an FYI, excuse me, BSIS@dca.ca.gov is our inbox. And I think we're usually at about a 48-hour turnaround, between 24 and 48 hours, unless it is a more complex company-related question, then it might take a little longer. Or a complex policy issue. Okay, moving on. We're going to go now to update on the Bureau's enforcement unit, and Assistant Chief Sadolski will also give this one. Oh, wait, hang on, Sam. We got one question. Why is it taking 125 days to complete PPO applications? It can take longer. And it can take up to 6 months to a year. It depends on the mistakes that are made, the deficiencies that are there, how quickly you line up a PM or a QM rather. There's all kinds of issues. And keep in mind, this is a license to operate a business. It is a lengthy process. We do a lot of work on this. You have to get fingerprints. You've got to submit all your principals. There's all kinds of back and forth. So yeah, it takes a while. It does take a while to get a company license. It is a big responsibility and we take it seriously. Okay. All right, sorry, Sam, if you want to start in on agenda item 6 on the enforcement update. Thank you.
Okay, so just some updates for the enforcement side of the house. As we've shared with you last year, Ruby Montoya was appointed as the Deputy Chief over Enforcement. In December, Terry Williams was appointed as the manager over complaint intake and complaint resolution. I'm sure most of you that have a license have met Terry at some point. She's been with the Bureau as long as Andrea Daly's been here. She's been in enforcement. So really excited to have her step in and work with the complaint resolution analyst. That's working out very well. If you look at some of the enforcement stats, obviously at this point, 32% of our pending investigations are for unlicensed activity. 40% of the citations issued this year have been for unlicensed activity. Definitely looking in the overall, I think fewer citations have been issued this past fiscal year. We've really been focusing on, education, because we had the new proprietary laws that went into effect. With the new training stuff, enforcement's doing a lot of education, a lot of outreach efforts, and then we also had, some staffing changes as well. So we have some new staff over in enforcement, and we're actually currently recruiting a couple positions as well. So, kind of with the ebb and flow of staffing, we're dealing with that now in enforcement. So, some updates of projects we've been working on. Obviously, you guys remember we had the private security pocket card on the website that had information about, how the practice acts work, especially. So We pulled that off with AB 229 and AB 2515. We had a lot of changes in private security and proprietary. So we've been updating that. Right now, we've gotten the enforcement side of it, or the law enforcement specific pocket card that we make. So we'll be able to hand that out with law enforcement agencies. We're finalizing the public version, and we'll get that up on the website soon. It's going to be a little more comprehensive than the last one, and also presented differently. It's going to have, some of the vehicle code provisions in there that sometimes private security companies forget about. What you can and cannot have on your cars. So we've definitely added more information on there for people to have. We're also in the process of working on reclassifying a couple positions to get some more special investigators. That was something we identified in the sunset. That program has been successful, having them out in the field and having just a presence, doing the stings and sweeps with other agencies. That's really how we've caught a lot of unlicensed activity, and we're able to respond quicker. And that's been very well received. So we're in the process of doing that. And then I know I've been telling you guys since last year, we're looking at updating the enforcement website. That's in the works now. Our enforcement manager and our policy staff are working with OIS. We're going to get that going very soon. The idea is we'll be able to publish all the unlicensed activity citations, formal discipline. There will basically be a landing zone for you to go in there and look at what we've been doing in enforcement, look at the citations that are issued and all of that. So really excited to get that rolled out probably later this year. Hopefully this summer is what we'll be hoping for. So I think that's it. If anybody has any questions.
So we'll open it up to committee members first for questions on our enforcement efforts. Any committee members have questions? I am not seeing any hands pop up. Okay, all right, we will close questions for committee members, open it up for members of the public.
And this is the moderator. If anyone would like to present a comment on the enforcement report, you can look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment, and click send. Or you can raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon, and our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Each speaker will have 3 minutes with a 30-second warning. Are there any comments on the enforcement report? And I do not see any requests for comment. Shall I close the public comment feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to agenda item number 7, which is update on the 23-24 legislation impacting the Bureau to date. We are going to have our policy and administration manager, unit manager, Carrie Ortman, give this. Her unit tracks our legislation, regulations, and policy changes. They do all that fun stuff. So Carrie, you're up.
Good morning. We are currently tracking these 4 bills, AB 2228. This law would allow a licensed repossession agency to serve a debtor with a notice of seizure by email. It would also prohibit the charges disclosed in the notice from being determined by any entity apart from the repossession agency, and makes those charges confidential. Currently, that bill has been re-referred to the Judiciary Committee. Assembly 2120 would exempt repossession agencies and their employees from certain prohibitions against trespass while they're on private property, searching for collateral or repossessing collateral. That one was read the second time and ordered to the consent calendar. Senate Bill 1454 Ashby is our sunset bill for the Bureau. It extends provisions relating to licensure and regulation of alarm company operators. And that one was re-referred to the Judiciary Committee. And Assembly Bill 2862 requires, notwithstanding any other law, that a board within the department prioritize African American applicants seeking licensure, especially applicants who are descended from a person enslaved in the United States. And that one was read a second time and amended on April 17th. Currently, Bureau staff is also working on the much discussed licensing fee adjustments. We are in the process of getting that language.
Hey, Carrie, sorry,
Yes?
don't mean to interrupt, but you're bleeding into agenda item number 8.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we gotta shut this one down first, and then we'll move on to
Okay.
the regs. So what I will do, are you done?
Yes,
with
that's a
your-
legislative update.
All right, any committee members have any questions about legislation impacting the Bureau? Okay, I don't see any. All right. The one thing I do want to remind everybody about legislation is that this is not, these are not our bills. If you object to them, please go to the legislature and register your objections that way. We do not weigh in on legislation, so if you want your legislators to understand how you feel about a bill, you must contact them directly. Okay, having said that, I'll happy to open it up to public comment at this point.
And this is the moderator. We have opened up public comment for agenda item 7, the update on legislation. If you'd like to make a comment, you may look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment in the text box and click send. And the other option is to raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. And our call-in users can press *3 to raise their hand. Are there any comments or questions on the legislative update? And I do not see any questions or comments at this time. Shall I close public comment?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Moderator. All right, if we can move on now to agenda item number 8, update on enacted or pending regs. So I will go ahead and open up or have Carrie give that update.
As I said before, we are currently working in the process of promulgating the regulations for this, and we will follow the timeline and get those out as soon as possible. That is all I have on that one.
Quick and economical with the words there, Carrie.
Yes.
Thanks. Caught me a little off guard there. Okay. Yeah, so this is the pending fee adjustments. We do anticipate working on these for the better part of the remainder of this year. We do anticipate them going over to the Office of Administrative Law, fingers crossed, by the end of the year. And an implementation date to be determined. We haven't even really started rolling up our sleeves and digging into this, so it's going to take us a few months. We will have more updates for you, probably a much better update for you probably in November. But I will pass it over to Sam, see if he has anything to add here.
Yeah, just real quick on the fee regs. For those of you that remember when we did the fee audit back in 2017 and 2018 for the two different, the private security and the PI funds, at that time, the auditor had recommended a 40% increase. We only went with 30%, saving that 10% for later. We've done a lot of work addressing, ways that we can be more efficient here in the Bureau, trying to educate, applicants more, try to reduce the number of deficient applications. We bought ourselves a few years. We should have been in the red. I think it was last year based off of the audit. So this increase of 10% still goes back to the original recommendation. And with this fee increase, we're doing desk audits as part of that regulations. We're going through and and looking at workload, you know, look at the previous audit, look at the new processes that are in place and kind of evaluating that workload again. So it's not something we take lightly. It is going to take, you know, work on our part. But again, that increase, I mean, this, like I said, this was recommended back in 2017, 2018.
Okay, thanks. Any members of the committee have any questions on this agenda item on fee, raising the fees? I will add that we have the statutory authority to do so. That has already been passed by the legislature some years ago before my time here. Any other questions from committee members? No? Okay. All right, I'm going to open it up to members of the public on specifically on enacted pending regulations. And we, as I mentioned, we have one package that we're moving through on fees. Any public comment or questions?
We've opened up the public comment feature of WebEx to facilitate comment. If you'd like to make a comment, you can look for the question mark icon, click that, type the word comment, and then click send, or you may raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon. Are there any comments on this agenda item? And we do have a request for comment from Austin Tharp. Austin, I'll send you a request to unmute your microphone and you'll have 3 minutes. And Austin, I sent you a request. It should come in as a pop-up on your device. There you go. You're unmuted. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to know how these fees are used, a breakdown, and why are some of them 300% increased in some cases?
We haven't even published any fee schedule or proposed fee schedule, so I'm not sure where you're getting the 300%. As I mentioned, we raised fees some years ago. We got statutory to raise fees. I believe it was 40%. We got permission back in 2016 or 2017 prior to my coming to the Bureau. There was legislative approval for that. We only raised it 30%. We left a little wiggle room. So we have 10% left in our statutory authority, which is what we are raising them. So.
Okay, and then I have one more question. Since when I asked for the petition of legislators to the governor to convert to a civilian oversight committee, why did some of your members laugh at me?
I have no idea.
All major, the fire department, the police department, so on and so forth, all have civilian oversight committees. So why doesn't BSIS?
We are not a law enforcement board. We are a regulatory board, and this is what is common for a regulatory board.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And let's see, there is a comment from Eddie. Eddie, we're gonna try the mute and unmute thing again. I sent you your request on your device. And you're unmuted, Eddie. Let's give it a try. And again, we're not hearing your voice.
Okay, well, Eddie, I will, what I would say, Eddie, is I'm looking at your questions regarding email. You can request that somebody call you back. You have to email us and ask and be specific about what questions you may have, because that would help us get the right person to call you back. Again, email at bsis@dca.ca.gov. Request a call back for one of our staff to do so, and we will get you a call back. However, keep in mind that we have close to 500,000 licensees. We cannot always call everybody back who wants a call. A lot of times it is easier and more efficient for us to put things in writing that we can then go back and refer the licensee to or the applicant to. But we do call people back. I hear my staff on the phone with our licensees and applicants all day, every day. And all information on our budget is on the DCA website. I'm seeing some questions about how our fees are used and how does raising fees help licensees. It helps us, especially with the number one thing that it helps us with is to track down unlicensed activity, get more staff in the Bureau. To get more staff in the Bureau helps with processing times and helps get licenses in the hands of applicants quicker. There's a whole bunch of things we do with our budget. You can see all of our budget. It is open and on the DCA website. If you look under the annual report for DCA contains information on all boards and bureaus. And again, if you search for annual report on the DCA website, it should pop up. Go through it. It's a very large report. Look for BSIS and it will have the budget detail in there. The reassignment fee, yeah, that fee was a few years ago. It was before my time, but I will have Sam answer that question if he has more information on it. Sam's been with the Bureau a lot longer than I have.
So keep in mind, so specifically the reassignment fee, that is only authorized under the PI and Alarm Act in regards to being able to reassign a license from one entity to another. So when the industries pass legislation to allow them to be licensed as an LLC, they also built in provisions that would allow them to assign their existing license to that LLC. So for example, they're going from a corporation to an LLC or a sole proprietor to an LLC. So those fees, I think the question is, they went up 300%. Those were newly established fees at the time. So their increase would have gone through along with the audit because at that point the authority was there. So that's the only fee you're talking about. You're talking about a very, very small percentage of licensees that would actually have that fee applied to them.
And keep in mind that reassignment from a corp to an LLC or any other type creates a lot of work for the Bureau. We do have to go through and make sure that everything is consistent and being followed according to the proper law. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions from the public on the agenda item number 8, which is proposed regs?
And I do not see any further requests for comment. Shall I close that public comment feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay, that was agenda item number 8. Agenda item number 9 is public comment on items not on the agenda. Also, what would like to remind folks that this is not going to be a back and forth. If you have issues that you want discussed at a further or future meeting, you can put the questions in there, or you can just put what you have here for committee members and Bureau staff to look at. But again, this is not going to be any sort of colloquy. We will just merely acknowledge your comment or question and discuss among the committee members if it will be placed as a future agenda item. So I will ask for public comment. And remember, members, you get to make your suggestions in the next agenda item. This is for public only.
Thank you. This is the moderator. We've opened up for suggestions for items that have not been on this agenda. If you'd like to make a suggestion, you can look for the question mark icon, type the word comment and click send, or you can click the hand icon to raise your hand. We do have a request for comment from Edwin Torres. Edwin, I'm going to send you a request to unmute. You're unmuted.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So one of my comments for future discussion is why the Bureau has no longer posted the advisory meetings on their YouTube channel. If I'm going to the YouTube channel right now, it seems like the last time one of these meetings was posted was February 17 of 2022. So I think it would be in the best interest of the licensees and the public to have all meetings posted on YouTube, at a regular, quick, after the meetings have concluded manner.
Thank you. And are there any other items? Let's see. All right, so we do have Antonio S. And Antonio, I'm going to send you a request to unmute so that you can ask your question or type yours or present your suggestion for a future topic. And Antonio, I sent you a request to unmute your microphone. There you go. All right. Antonio, are you able to unmute? Okay. Chief Jensen, shall I read the suggestion or?
Yeah, sorry, I hadn't scrolled down far enough. Okay.
Right.
Oh, hang on, which one is it?
There's one of two in the interest of public safety.
In the interest of public safety, I urge BSIS to address the issue of uniforms not being returned to PPOs. This issue causes financial losses. Yeah, okay. I suggest there be a mechanism to register guards with BS under PPO profile. Okay, thank you. This mechanism can also serve to notify BSIS and PPOs of important information regarding individual guards, such as when a license is revoked or reporting use of force incidents or other disciplinary issues. You need to sign up for our web updates. We publish weekly updates on whose licenses have been revoked, suspended, or otherwise subject of enforcement action on our, we send out targeted emails. The way to sign up for an email blast is go to our website, bsis.ca.gov. Go on the right side, scroll down a little bit, sign up for our email updates. Okay, second is what appeal processes are in place for various activities that require approval from BSIS? And the last is BSIS lacks oversight and accountability. I would like to see this committee converted to an oversight committee. Please put this on the agenda. Okay. All right. All of these will be discussed and the committee members will decide what will be included in the next meeting. Thank you.
And we do have one further raised hand from Sean. Sean, I'm going to send your request to unmute. You'll have 3 minutes to present your suggestion. You're unmuted. Go ahead. Yes.
Hi, committee. This is Sean. Thank you so much for your time today. I do know that BSIS takes considerations from an organization called CalSAGA. I would please ask if the committee and BSIS refrain from taking the advice from CalSAGA. CalSAGA represents the large private security companies out there, Allied Universal, Securitas, so on and so forth. I really think that we should have our own advisory panel, like a different panel that reflects the guard that works 9 to 5, 24/7 out there that's putting their life on the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I do not see any further requests for comment. I have sent the one that I saw that did not get verbally addressed, but the request has been received. So shall I close public comment?
Yes, please do. Hang on. I think there was a comment I may have missed. Wait. Let me just, I'm looking for it right now. If BSIS is not a law enforcement agency, how can you enforce issues like vehicle code and penal code? Okay. All right. Okay, yes, please close public comment. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, at this point, we do have one more raised hand. Austin Tharp, did you choose to make a comment again? If so, raise your hand again, please. All right. Thank you. Oh no, Austin, let's go ahead and send you a request to unmute. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if the committee had any comments to Sean's question about his comment.
I believe this agenda item was only for topics for future meetings.
That is correct. We will not engage in a colloquy on these. These are just suggestions from the public for potential future meeting agenda items.
And I believe that is it for public comment. Shall I close that feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Now, this is agenda item number 10, a committee members' recommendations for future advisory committee meeting agenda items. Do any committee members have any suggestions for future agenda items? And this doesn't have to be answered right here, right now. You can send me or any Bureau staff your suggestions, and we will send it out to the group as a whole and narrow it down that way. I'm not seeing any hands raised. Okay. All right. And do you mind? Oh, I don't need you for this one. Okay. And just a moment. All right. The only thing that we have left is after agenda item number 10 is agenda item number 11. Any final words before we sign off here, everybody? I want to thank everybody for coming to the meeting today. Public comment was unusually robust. Thank you, members of the public, for coming today. Appreciate everybody's input, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.